While the royal family greatly contribute to charity work and are committed to good causes, there have been moments when members' manners have royally slipped. BBC Radio 4 presenter Matthew Parris revealed in The Times how Anthony Armstrong-Jones was evidently bored when he featured on his programme. Lord Snowdon's former wife, Princess Margaret, behaved questionably at times too, and Andrew Morton described her discourteous behaviour in his book. Even Princes William and Harry have had their rude moments. When William was a child, he earned quite a reputation at his nursery, while as an adult, Harry was scolded by the late Queen. Meghan Markle previously faced allegations that she bullied palace staff members, though the Duchess strongly denied the claims, while Wallis Simpson was described as abominably rude by a royal biographer. Anthony Armstrong-Jones, Lord Snowdon, was married to Princess Margaret for 18 years before the couple divorced in 1978. When Lord Snowdon went on the BBC's Great Lives, which features guests who speak about figures who have inspired them during their life, he chose mini designer Alec Isignonis. However, Mr. Parris wrote in The Times how the radio show evidently bored the Earl. When he arrived for the radio show in the afternoon, he reportedly demanded a glass of wine and seemed to have little interest in or knowledge of Isignonis. His behaviour made the presenter feel as though Snowdon regretted even agreeing to feature on the show. It isn't the first time people have recalled experiences with Princess Margaret's former husband. In 2020, Fern Britton said that Anthony was the most spectacularly rude and uncooperative interviewee she had ever met. She had watched BBC Two's series Princess Margaret, the Royal Rebel, and took to X to post about her experience. The television presenter recalled watching the documentary about Princess Margaret and Lord Snowdon. I interviewed Lord Snowdon about 12 years ago, and I can tell you he was the most spectacularly rude and uncooperative interviewee I have ever met. And I've met a few, so bravo. Queen Elizabeth's sister, Princess Margaret, was known for her regal beauty, but her pampered life didn't always reflect well in her behaviour. Mark Bonham Carter, grandson of Prime Minister Herbert Asquith, danced twice with Margaret when she was a teenager, and Andrew Morton wrote in his 2021 book, Elizabeth and Margaret, how she was full of character and very tart in her criticisms. The royal author described Margaret's discourteous behaviour and how she would miss key events, including the Queen's 10th wedding anniversary celebration, with no apology present or even a card. Craig Brown wrote in the Mail how Sir Roy Strong, who had dined at many dinner parties with the princess, remarked on her behaviour in his diary. The entry described Margaret as so inconsiderate, and he stressed how he really couldn't stand any more of it. He wrote, "This was a princess who never seemed to think of anything other than everyone's role to fulfil her slightest whim." Meghan Markle was previously dubbed as Duchess Difficult by her staff, after claims that she terrifies and belittles people. Hollywood Reporter published allegations that Meghan was absolutely relentless and marches around like a dictator in high heels, fuming and barking orders. A spokesperson for Meghan previously declined to comment when contacted by Mail Online. She had previously been accused of bullying as a child. Prince William reportedly wasn't very polite at times, and the youngster seemed to let his future as king go to his head. He repeatedly told his nanny, Barbara Barnes, "No one tells me what to do. When I am king, I will have you punished," Tina Brown wrote in her book, The Palace Papers. William's cheeky antics continued outside of his palatial home, and he gained quite a reputation of being an entitled little monster at Mrs. Minor's nursery school, where he was known as Basher Wills, Ms. Brown revealed. While William's younger brother, Prince Harry, had a telling off from their grandmother as an adult. The late Queen scolded Harry after he apparently used offensive language about the monarch's dresser and close confidant Angela Kelly, the Mail on Sunday previously reported. Meghan had requested to try on a tiara, so her hairdresser could practice styling her hair for their wedding in 2018. However, protocol means access to the crown jewels is restricted and an appointment is needed, so Ms. Kelly could not allow them to use the tiara at that time. The prince was understood to have used offensive language about Ms. Kelly and put pressure on courtiers to persuade her to travel to London and unlock the cupboard where the tiara is kept. Mrs. Kelly heard about Harry's behaviour and informed the Queen. A source said at the time, "He was put firmly in his place. He had been downright rude." Though in Finding Freedom, written by Omid Scobie and Caroline Durand, the event is recalled differently. It accuses Ms. Kelly of deliberately dragging her feet. When Meghan asked for access to the tiara, Edward VIII abdicated the throne in 1936 to marry American divorcee Wallis Simpson. However, opinions on the socialite were mixed. Royal biographer Philip Ziegler described her as abominably rude. Andrew Loney previously wrote in the Mail on Sunday. He said, "The Duchess of Windsor was harsh, dominating, often abominably rude. She treated the prince at the best like a child who needed keeping in order, at the worst with contempt, but he invited it and begged for more." Andrew Morton previously wrote in the Mail how an acquaintance of the couple, Lady Gladwin, said, "She became rude, odious and strange.